Hello everyone, welcome back again. I'm Faculty Emmanuel from CapacityBay.org and I'm your instructor for today's topic. Now, in our previous class, we talked about HTML multimedia tag, dealing with videos and audios. In this section, we'll be talking about HTML iframes. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Now, what are iframes? Okay, the iframe tag allows us to embed content from other web pages into our own web page. Now, technically, an iframe creates a new nested browsing context. What I mean by that is that anything in the iframe does not interfere with the parent page and vice versa. Okay, so many sites uses iframes to perform various things. You might be familiar with CodePen, Glitch, or other sites that allow you to code in one part of the page and you see the result in a box. That's an iframe. So how do we create iframes in HTML? Let me go back to my Visual Studio Code. I've created a file called index.html. I'm going to create a boiler template. I give it the title of iframe. And then how do we write iframes? So I'll start open and then we say iframe. All right, now iframe has an attribute called the source attribute, which is the src. Now, src is the source attribute. So this is where you input your links, the link to the web page you want to embed on this web page. So we have two different types of link, like I said in the HTML link section. We have the relative link and we have the absolute link. Now, the relative link are links that are in that particular web page context, okay? But absolute link are links from different sources, different web pages, okay? So let's create a file. Oh, let me close this first. Let's close this. All right, iframe, and I run this live. I refresh my web page. Now, you can see I have an empty iframe. Okay, I have an empty iframe. I go over here. I create a file I want to embed on that particular web page. Right. So let me call it embed.html. Create a file and then I create a boiler template. Now I'm going to create a h1 and I call it CapacityBay. All right, I create a paragraph tag and I say welcome to CapacityBay. I'm Emmanuel, your tutor. All right, now I'm going to embed this in this web page. Come to the index.html and then add our embed.html. And then I go back to our web page. You can see I've embedded this CapacityBay. Welcome to CapacityBay. I'm Emmanuel, your tutor. Okay, so I can actually embed other web pages. Now, mind you, there are some web pages that does not give us permission to embed their contents on our web page. Okay, so not all web pages works. So I'll look for a web page that works. I think I have tutorial Republic. Now Tutorial Republic gives us that privilege. So I copy the link for Tutorial Republic, copy that, I go back to my web page, and then I put the link in exchange of this. All right, and then I go back to my web page, refresh. You can see I have Tutorial Republic web page on my own web page. You can see that without going over to theirs, I can see their content. I can use their content from wherever I am. Okay, so you can see our web page is our iframe is a little bit small because it uses the default size of 300 by 150 pixels. So let's change the height and width. So come over here, give it an attribute of height, and then let's give it a height of 600 pixel. Sorry, 600 pixel and a width of 600 pixel also, with 600 pixel. And then let's go back to our iframe. You can see our iframe is now large. We can manipulate the size to anything we want. So let's now iframe here. All right. Now there are different attributes in iframe. Okay, there are some attributes. We have another attribute we call source document. Okay, I'll leave this height. Source document attributes. I can add it over here. It's another attribute. Now the SRC doc, we call it SRC doc. So it's SRC doc. All right. Now this helps us embed, okay, documents, HTML documents in our web page. Now, when I mean HTML document, I don't mean from external source. Now, this inline embedding. All right. So let's say I want to embed a paragraph tag or a H1 tag. I can do that by using this. I can say, okay, H1. Now I'm writing it as if I'm writing it outside. That's it. H1, and I say kappa, or let me call it another thing. Say MZ. All right, and then I close my H1. All right, so if I go to my web page and then I refresh this, you can see my iframe is carrying MZ. Now, mind you, the SRC attribute and the SRC doc, okay, the SRC doc actually takes precedence over the SRC attribute. Why? It dominates it. Okay, when two of them are included in the iframe, okay, the web page takes that of the SRC doc. All right, so this we can actually embed web pages. We can decide to embed paragraphs, hyperlinks, or anything we want on that particular iframe. Okay, so we also have another attribute called sandbox. Okay, now what does sandbox do? Sandbox just allows us to limit the operations allowed in iframes. Okay, so if we omit the sandbox attribute, okay, we are now giving it permission to do anything, to embed anything from that web page. But if we are adding the sandbox attribute, so if I say sandbox, now if I do it this way, just sandbox, it won't embed everything from that web page. Okay, it's going to be limiting some things. Like you can see, the adverts, the ads are no longer showing. There's some things that is going to be limited. Why? Because we added the sandbox. So if we want to give it permissions, we can now be giving them permissions. Okay, we have different permissions like allow forms, allow modals. Okay, we have alerts. We have allow orientation lock, that's to allow the lock screen to rotate. Okay, the allow modals to allow to pop up modals, including alerts. Okay, allow forms. So you can read about that. All right, so I'm going to take off the sandbox. Now, I want to embed, one thing from iframes. Okay, we can add a link. Okay, let me create a paragraph. And then I add a link of iframe, a link over here, hyperlink, and let's copy this. I cut this link, I put it here. Okay, and then I call the link take me to the web page. Okay, take me to the web page. And normally if I click the link, it takes me to that web page. Okay, but I want it to be, when I click this link, I want it to embed this web page in our iframe. So we're going to be giving our iframe an attribute called name. Okay, and I give it an attribute of name, and I say let's just say take. Now, when I go over to my link, I'm going to be giving it an attribute. Okay, I'm giving it an attribute of target. Right, target, of take. So it understands that I want it to target this name, take. So push this link and open this web page in this iframe. Why? Because the iframe has the name of take, and that's where I'm targeting. If I go to my web page and I click this, you see that it's embedded on the web page. So, and that will be all for this section. If you have any questions, drop that in the comment section below. Like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell notification icon to get notified whenever we drop a new video. See you in the next section.